Salvete discipuli and salvete omnes. Welcome again to another episode of Latin and Layman's. Again, bringing you the prefix here, pre meaning before or in front of, or in front of, in place of. So this is actually, in Latin, it is the preposition spelled pri, but we get rid of that A when it made its way on into English. That's why All right, there we go. Now, with that being said, sorry about that, but you know what? I don't want you guys to hear the first and last person of their names. This is also where we get equality. Equality in Latin is actually spelled aequalitas with an A-E at the beginning. This is also where we get ether, E-T-H-E-R. It actually in the Latin is aether, It's A-E-T-H-E-R, the ether. The ethers, I'm speaking to you guys, and it's reaching to you guys across over the ethers. Now, with that being said, if you guys haven't already, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Casts, wherever you get your podcasts, your boy has laid down a lot of episodes doing this in a longer format as well as Latin grammar. I have entertained Q&As in the past where people have asked questions, personal, controversial. I have entertained those on occasion. It's been a lot of fun, actually. And so if you guys have not checked that out already, it's Latin in Layman's, a Rhetoric Revolution. I've also had some people ask about the link in my bio on TikTok. That's actually my brother's published book, Rio in the Broken World. I had that correction actually recently that my brother gave me. Rio in the Broken World. You can go find it on Amazon. Go support my brother out. He's younger than me. He's getting married in a month. And he's a published author. Love that guy. He's a rockin' dude. And then, hey, you know what? If you haven't already gone over to Instagram, at Izzy Pokes, IZZYPOKES, my little sister does a bunch of stick and pokes, and this is the one that she actually just gave me for my birthday, and this was all stick and poked. So if you want to go see some rad tattooing, all done stick and poke, that's her thing. She's a pretty rockin' artist. Now, I'm going to shut up, and we're going to get into that. And that was my little preamble, if you will, because pre meaning before, and then amble coming from the Latin ambulo, ambulare, which means to walk. That means that we are ambulant creatures. It's also where we get ambulance, which is a walking hospital. Back in the day, it used to be driven, and ambulances were carried or led by horses. They were walking hospitals. Now, with that being said, we are ambulant creatures. We are walking always, right? And all that good stuff. So if you didn't know, now you know. Now let's go ahead and go back to predict, though, because pre meaning before or in front of. Dico dicere means to speak. This is where we get dictation. We get a dictator because a dictator says we do whatever they tell us what to do, which is not really cool. I don't like that at all. I'm not going to abide by a stupid little dictator. But that being said, this is also where we get predict. So if you didn't know, now you know, because if you etymologize it, it just means to speak before. If you have a preamble, you walk before. But in this case, a preamble is what really comes before the speech. And, you know, a preamble is what you probably are introduced when learning the Constitution right way back when the preamble was done in the constitutional setting that led into the ambulo ambulare. I don't know. And anyways, next one here that we have, prejudice. Pre meaning again before, and then judice coming from the Latin judicum. Actually, there were no J's in Latin, there were only I's, so that's why it would be pronounced as judicum. That's why Julius Caesar would actually be pronounced as Julius Caesar. So judicum means judgment. Prejudice just means a judgment before, aka you're making a judgment before you actually know the person. Kind of like what a stereotype is. Our brains like to kind of create shortcuts for us to understand people before we actually know them. And unfortunately, we can sometimes make that into a prejudicial or prejudice kind of way, which is unfortunate, but that is sometimes human nature. Next one, pregnant. Pregnant. Pre meaning before, genant, coming from gigno in the Latin meaning to bring forth. So when you are pregnant, we are about to have, let's hear. I love this. This is it.
Good afternoon, Monument Academy staff. As a reminder, we have a short staff meeting, 1:15 in the band room, talking about back to school night. We'll make it short and sweet. See you in 10 minutes in the band room.
Short and sweet, 10 minutes in the band room. That means I got just a little bit more time. Thank you, Mr. Kennington. Anyways, to bring forth, before. So what is brought forth before is being pregnant, because after you are pregnant, you give birth and you bring forth a child into this world. So before that process happens, you're just pregnant. So it's the before process of bringing forth the little baby. Last one, precursor rather. I gotta enunciate. Pre meaning before, cursor coming from the Latin curo, curare, which means to run. This is also where we get current from, a running river, a current. It's always flowing, it's always running. This is also where we get cursive, right? Because cursive is writing that runs into itself. That's a really poor cursive for my name, but I did it from a different angle. How about, you know what, I'll make it up, you guys. That's all right. With that being said, hope you learned something new. Tempest says, discover.